Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizons, the long-awaited finale to Sonic Frontiers finally dropped. And holy shit, I have never seen the community so split before. Some people love it, and some people hate it. But what do I think of it? Man, this shit fun as hell, bro. First off, I want to talk about the thing that everybody is talking about, right? The difficulty. This shit is hard. This shit's David Goggins hard, man.
You don't know me, son!
Kishimoto was probably seeing everybody dogging about the difficulty of the game, so he was like, they made the enemies way stronger, including a new plus variant of enemies, which includes a concept art enemy of Spider that was never added into the game, and it even plays completely differently. The enemies also have way more aggressive attacks. They attack faster. They can even two-shot you even if you're at max rings. The tank is just unforgiving as hell, bro. It quite literally turns into a bullet hell with a homing cannon. Then you have the towers. These things are tough, man. The first one was like a Roblox obby bullshit, but the rest of them are pretty fun, not gonna lie. The difficulty for most of them seems pretty fair, and if I failed, I felt like I knew why I failed, except for that fucking first one. Whoever fucking designed that shit, fuck yourself! But for the most part, they allow for skilled players to actually use their skill to see how they can make massive skips, and they provide a really good challenge. I really like the platforming, especially the fifth one. By far, my favorite tower, just because of the spectacle of it, man. You feel like you're raiding this, like, giant tower fortress with all these enemies and, like, cannons firing at you, and all the platforming is genuinely fun. Then at the top of each tower are these ancient trials, and for the most part, they're alright, aside from two of them, the snake trial and the master trial. The snake trial isn't really that hard, it's just that the shells drop so fast that you have to, like, basically what you have to do is you have to cheese it by backing up, and then making them throw the shells, and then you go attack, and then you can parry the shell away, and then you have to keep doing that until you kill the enemy. Now, the master trial are basically titan rematches, right? But the thing about them, though, is... so you know the parry, right? The 15-second long parry everybody wanted to be made shorter? Well, they did that for this challenge, and they made it deadass 5 frames long. This, in turn, made the Titan fights an actual challenge, and it makes each fight hard as balls, man. Jeez. Especially Wyvern. Holy shit, when you can't just hold the parry, it turns into an actual good fight, right? But it does have a problem where there is no indication on like when to parry, like a spidey sense or something. You have to time that shit perfectly. But of course, me being a gangster, I beat it on my first try. But I've seen a lot of people struggling to beat this. But I love this because the Titan fights really feel rewarding to beat now that they're an actual challenge. And when I beat them, I kind of got that same feeling I got when I first played them. And I was wishing for that feeling forever, and I finally fucking got it, man. And don't even get me started on CybersSpace stages, man. So instead of making completely new ones, they basically remixed some CybersSpace stages, and they have really cool gimmicks like a rocket boost, a tails race like in Adventure 1, and even a low gravity mode, and that made them really fun to play. And just because they're remixes, they still added new level design to them that basically completely changed how you play them. For example, the remix of 4D, it's the same level in concept, but it is so massive. It has so many alternate paths, and it even has a hidden ending. Like, you can go explore, and you can find an alternate ending to the level that, oh my god, bro. And the challenge in them is also pretty tough too, but it's not to the point where I want to like do a backflip off the Empire State, right? I feel like the difficulty here is really good, like nice and balanced. And they even added new collectibles, like the number rings from the moon rings from Forces, and flickies that you can save, which is interesting. CybersSpace has made such a comeback with this update, going from a whatever feature to the game to being one of the most the most fun part of this update. Overall, the challenge of this update was cranked up to 1,000, and that's great for me who loves that. But I can see how that may deter casuals from this update, and especially when you're putting a whole new story here, that kind of it's to its detriment. But if you want, you could turn on easy mode that adds extra springs and balloons to the towers to make them easier, and obviously the enemies a bit easier, kind of like in Raya Island. But I just love this difficulty, man. Using the skills I have to find ways up the towers and beating tough enemies is just so fun to me, man. It feels so rewarding too. Up next, the big thing that I think most people were excited about are the new playable characters that are Amy, Knuckles, and Tails. Now, here's what's interesting. So, how it works is kind of like the end of the world in Sonic 06, where you play as one character at a time doing different things to eventually collect the Chaos Emeralds. It's a bit confusing in the first few minutes, but once you get the idea of what you're supposed to be doing, it makes sense. Amy is by far the most polished one. She has like a hover. Something that is cool is that if you boost and then hover, it carries your momentum, which is really nice. She also has a wheel motorcycle that also uses momentum, but not like weird like pseudo momentum. It actually uses like legit momentum, right? And like it's so accurate that like if you turn super fast, like super sharp, it slows down, which is so cool. And a nice little detail is that if you like go to like a drift, she does the fucking Akira drift, bro. Oh my, yo, that shit's fucking raw as hell, man. Her movement feels like an easier Sonic with all the movement abilities, which is really nice for all the like. It's just personally is my favorite to do platforming with. Tails is my personal favorite, just of how much you could just break platforming with his flying and his mech. By the way, they brought back the fucking mech with the fucking cannon Kamehameha. He doesn't have a homing attack with his, which is a bit weird sometimes, but I still love his character to death, man. Now, sadly, Knuckles kinda sucks. And it pains me to say because I thought I'd have the most fun with his character. His glide not only doesn't have startup lag, which is super awkward, his turn radius is really stiff, and it's super detrimental in crucial platforming sections. And he can only climb certain walls, which is so disappointing, man. I was so excited to play with him. But I will say that his platforming sections are pretty fun. And that does go for most of them, especially Amy's sections. But I felt like some of them were not as good as the others. I think they did a good job with the Coco challenges, but there is so much here that they wanted to do that they weren't able to match the quality for each one. While not perfect, these new characters were really fun to play around with, and I'm really glad that they were added in. Now the music. Now I love the music in the original soundtrack for the game. Some of Otani's best work. Now, the soundtrack in this game was like that plus 10. My personal favorites are the new Oranos movement that you get when you first play as Sonic. CybersSpace also got some new music. Otani decided to remix some tracks, and my personal favorite is the remix of 4-3 or CybersSpace level 4D. And there's one more that will have to wait until we talk about the story. So I'm just gonna save it here. But I cannot wait for this to come out on Spotify, man. Oh my, I love this soundtrack. Now, really quickly, I want to touch on some technical stuff and like general problems that I've noticed with this update, because there are a few. Pop-in was not fixed whatsoever. Who would have guessed, right? The other characters have this bug that messes up their deceleration and makes platforming with them kind of wonky. For like 30 minutes, it's super unclear what you should be doing, like in the beginning of the update. I wish they would have made it like way more clear, like add more waypoints or, you know, add a bit more tutorial or something. But that's basically all the issues I have technically and some general issues I had. Now, let's talk about the story. Now, massive spoilers ahead, right? And and this is like the one time I actually say this, I highly recommend beating this game first, man. Cause holy crap, this game went from a whatever ending to what might be the greatest ending to a Sonic game since Sonic Adventure 2. Now, the goal for this update was, to fix the lackluster story of Oranos, and I think they did a really good job with that. And I want to get into the characters when I make, my Sonic character video, but it's written pretty alright, right? It's not super mind-blowing, but they're pretty written whatever, right? But there is this one piece of dialogue that really pissed me off. It was when Tails was talking to Knuckles before he switched, and he was being worried that he won't be able to show them what he's made of when the moment counts, right? So what happened to your arc on Chaos Island, bro? You had that arc like, what? Oh, bro. I don't know if that was a slip up from Ian or I don't know whoever, but I don't know why this line is even in the game. Tails should have been like, I'm gonna kick this fucking N's ass, bro. It's just a fucking moon. Like, you should have been all confident and shit, bruh. But besides that, I do genuinely enjoy the new lore and story bits. And I just love Sonic and Eggman's interactions, bro. They're either bantering back and forth with each other, like, super, like, funny and shit, or they're at each other's throats. And the character dialogue you can find in the open world has some really cool lore drops. Like how Big was never even here and was a figment of Sonic's imagination in cyberspace, bro. I highly encourage y'all to go and find them yourself, because there are some really cool lore drops here. And I'm not gonna spoil all of them, but that big one was just one tip of the iceberg. Then, the end. It starts off and it fakes you out with the Supreme fight. Nothing really changed here, which I'm kind of upset they didn't even add back those QTEs. But once you beat it, the end sends, like, it just comes down and it sends an umbilical cord or something like that, and it links itself to Supreme, controlling it and turning it into this feral monster. And then this is the other music track I was talking about. A orchestral version of I'm Here featuring Kellen Quinn plays, and oh my god, Sonic starts fighting it, and then he transforms into Super Sonic 2. Yes, that's what it's called in the files. And it starts in the best way. Oh my god, the best way I can describe it is like it turns into Ultra Instinct. One of the finishers not only mirrors IDW, but it reminds me so much of what Goku did to Jiren when he first mastered Ultra Instinct. This is some of the coldest shit Sonic has done in any of these games, bro. He is so unbothered. Bro bitch slaps an energy ball. He snaps his fingers to snaps the end's neck, bro. Then halfway through the fight, you get the gun off its back and you give it to Eggman. The end fights back and throws this Frieza-ass energy ball at Sonic. And at that point, I thought I was done. I thought I lost. But my boy's got one more in him! He's got one more in him! Then you end the fight with Sonic doing the most Dragon Ball shit I have ever seen in a Sonic game, period. You know what? I'm just gonna play it here, man. I'm just gonna play what happens here. Words cannot describe how I felt seeing Sonic transform into this feral cybersonic looking Fleetway Supersonic, seeing the beaten and battered Sonic mirroring the end of Sonic Adventure 2. Then he falls down to Earth, meets his friends, Sage living, Eggman not being left alone at the end. I have never truly felt any other way about a Sonic game ending besides Adventure 2. This ending is truly perfect, man. It is the best part of this update. When I played it, I felt so many emotions because like I just reflected back on the times I played this game and how far we have come. And with that, we have reached the end, my friends. Sonic Frontiers is officially over, and I know that there are a bunch of issues with it, much like the base game. But much like the base game, I had so much fun playing this update that it didn't really matter. This update, much like this game as a whole, is a beautiful mess. There is so much wrong with it, but despite that, I can't help but just have fun with the game. I can't help but be drawn to the game, and I think that that's kind of a magical. I hate to sound corny, but that's just how it feels. Thank you, Mario Kishimoto. Thank you, Takashi Iizuka. Thank you, Sonic Team, for bringing us this game. I cannot wait to see what y'all do in the future. And with that, that is my review of Update 3. My next big video will be a re-review or a retrospective of this game. But until then, I will see y'all in the next one.
I never knew